Welcome to the Sports World 1869, a world so large you're a part of it whether you know it or not. Believe it or not, the first month of baseball has just ended, and we're going to go through everything from fights to snow to empty stadiums. It's all here in the first edition of the Month of Review. Something to note, this video might be kind of long because after all, we are talking about the first month of baseball, so this might be two parts. It may not be. We'll see how much time I devote to discussing every single thing that happened in this month. The main theme, I'd have to say, for this month was fighting. There was so much fighting in baseball, and personally that was my favorite part of the month because I actually saw one of the fights live. That was the Royals and the White Sox, because Yordano Ventura, as I mentioned in my week of review, started a fight for no reason, and he does that all the time, and he did that with the Athletics and the Angels. So one of the main themes, I'd have to say, was fighting. And it was quite exciting to watch. Not that fighting is a good thing, but to quote some books that I've read that talk about certain managers, they mention that baseball is not a very physical sport. So players get very tense and angry, and they want to relieve their anger, so you'll see fights all the time, which is why I think fights was a really exciting thing about this week. Another great exciting thing about this week was the first ever, probably the only time you will ever see this. There was an empty stadium game between the Orioles and the White Sox, and this was because of the riots in Baltimore. Not going to discuss that, but I am discussing the fact that it was really interesting to watch. One of the White Sox commentators was hoping it'd be a close game, because seeing a close game with the tension, with no one in there, how the players would react, didn't happen though. The White Sox were crunched. It almost seemed as if not only were there no players, but there was no competitors either out there. You could even joke, which I kind of was. But either way, it was very exciting to watch, especially the fact that you could hear all the plays going on. Usually players, when they scream for the ball, when it's in the air and they're trying to catch it, you don't hear it because the fans are cheering. But here, you heard everything, and it was pretty exciting. If you've not seen clips, by the way, from that or the fights, go watch them, because it was pretty unprecedented. I need to apologize for something, because every time I discuss certain pitchers of the week, I kept forgetting Felix Hernandez. I don't know how that kept happening, but he had a really good month. Shutout, lots of Ks. I mean, that's what Felix does. So I will give his due when I give out the awards for the month. There were a lot of surprises this month. One particular one, which not many people expected, myself included, was how good the Braves were going to be. Because I'm not sure how it's going to be in the future. But right now, they've been very dominant, and they lost, if you don't know, they lost Hayward, Upton, Gaddis, and yet they're still winning games. And Grilly is saving for them. He's their closer. And they lost Walden and Kimbrel, which was a big surprise too, by the way. They traded Kimbrel to the Padres, and the Padres immediately used him to take out the Dodgers, so that was kind of cool. But back to the Braves' point, it was just a big surprise at how well they were doing. Another surprise team was the Astros. Even though I do think they were going to be better this year, no one expected the kind of wins they were going to produce. They don't have the offense or the pitching, at least on paper, to compete with the teams in their division, but they've been doing that. The Flags have been better than what people suspected of them, mostly because of the fact that they got a bunch of players who never played together before. They basically traded all their best players, and yet somehow they've been winning games. Obviously, one exciting thing was seeing Chris Bryant and Aston Russell both debuting in this month. I want to talk about a few other rookies that may not have gotten the same attention, or did, but you don't seem to know about. And that is Devin Travis of the Blue Jays. He has already hit 5 home runs, 6 on the day I'm filming this, or is it 7? I don't know, he just seems to go every single week. He's got 20 RBIs. Fantastic rookie start already. No one really expected much of him when the Tigers traded him to the Blue Jays. I'm not sure what the Tigers were expecting of him to do, same with the Blue Jays, but he's been so helpful to this team, and he's hitting better than Bautista, Edwin Encarnacion, and Josh Donaldson. That's very impressive for a rookie, so that's something important to note. Another good player having a good start so far is Jock Peterson. He's hitting home runs. His fielding is fantastic. He's everything the Dodgers hoped for and more, and he just started, so we'll see where it goes from there. Mookie Betts has been doing very well. The average has to go a little higher, but very impressive. And one big guy that many people don't talk about is Archie Bradley. He got hit in the face in that Rocky game. He's alright though, but that was kind of scary. There were a lot of hits, by the way. Now that I think about it, and Archie Bradley got hit, and so did Carlos Carrasco. So, yeah, that happened a lot this week, unfortunately. And some players were hit too, including this week, which I'll talk about later. But, I mean, I won't talk about later. I'll talk about the next edition of the Week of Review. In addition to the good rookie performances you had, there was also a lot of great defense out there. Not just from your typical people like Nolan Arenado, Juan Lagares, even Brandon Phillips, but other players as well. The defense was very strong. I mentioned that in the very first week of baseball was not strong, but in this week it was great. Especially all the DP combinations that were happening left and right, and that play by Freddie Galvis, which is definitely something to note. And also even Alex Gordon, who's a Gold Glover himself, he did a few cool plays against the White Sox, as did Lorenzo Cain. Of course, Lorenzo Cain can cover anywhere, so you expect him to be a fantastic fielder, and he is. So defense was very exciting to watch. And there were so many good defensive performances during this month, and I expect that the players, if they keep staying healthy, you're going to see even more good defensive performances. So it was really cool, and I'm glad that things are going well for those teams. On a more sadder note, many players are on the DL for this month, and we are now going to pay tribute and our condolences for all those players that are hurt.
Hello, darkness, my old friend. I've come to talk.
So now it's time to give out the awards of the month. The first category is Best Hitter in the National League for the month of April. The nominees are Dee Gordon, Adrian Gonzalez, Matt Carpenter, Paul Goldschmidt, and the winner goes to Adrian Gonzalez. And the reason why I'm giving it to him is, first off, of the weeks of review I've done, he was the best hitter for at least 2 or 3 of them. So that alone puts him higher than the other players. Plus, for the longest time, he was leading in home runs and RBIs and batting average, and he was one of the reasons why the Dodgers team was dominating as they were. Paul Goldschmidt is fantastic, though. He's hitting a lot of home runs, good RBIs. The lineup is not as strong as it should be right now for him, which is why he's not as higher. But for what he has to work with, he's doing a great job. Dee Gordon's batting average is above 400. Wow, Dodgers. Great trade. Matt Carpenter is so good for the Cardinals. It doesn't matter where they put him, lead off, hitting second. He's hitting the home runs, getting on base. He's such a machine out there. But Adrian Gonzalez's impact is the highest of the 4 players, and that's why he is the best hitter of the month of April. Now let's give out the award for the best hitter in the American League in the month of April. The nominees are Miguel Cabrera, Jose Altuve, Devon Travis, Adam Jones, and Nelson Cruz. And the winner is Nelson Cruz. For 2 reasons. Well, more than 2, but we'll start with some basic ones. Number 1, I hated on him in the very first week, saying he needs to hit better and do better, and he proved me wrong, and probably lots of people who were wondering if being in Seattle would limit the amount of home runs he's hitting. He's already got 11. At this point, as I'm filming, 13. He leads the league in home run and RBIs, and he has been everything for this team, the team being the Mariners. They're not doing so well offensively, but he's been a bright spot for this team. If they're going to compete for the rest of the year, this is the man they are going to need, and that's why he's on there. The other players I put on there, players including Adam Jones, Miguel Cabrera, Devon Travis, they're all great hitters. Miguel Cabrera especially, he just came back from injury. He's already hitting home runs, especially those 2 towering ones against the Twins. Very impressive for the man, and he is just a fantastic hitter. Altuve is hitting 340 again, and like I mentioned earlier, the Astros have been winning a lot, and he's one of the reasons why they've been winning. He's getting on base. He's doing his job, basically, and he's doing it very well. He's also following up one of the best seasons he's ever had. Actually, it was the best season he ever had, and he's following up with it. So that's why he was even listed. And Devon Travis just had a phenomenal start to his rookie year. I had to put him on there. I'm not saying he's the best hitter, but you got to give the man credit for being a little unexpected. Some people are saying as I'm ring, the power was always known. That may be true, but when you transition into the major leagues, It's not always easy. Seriously, it's not. Look at some players who just get look at some players who never really get that, who never get that far and go back into the minors. Now we're going to do the awards for the best starting pitcher in the National League in the month of April. The nominees are Adam Wainwright, and I'm only putting him on here because even though he's probably not going to win it, he's out for the rest of the season. He was having a great start, so I got to put him on once. Unfortunately, this will be the first time and the last time he's going to be on a month of review potential winner of the best pitcher of the month. But anyways, back to the nominees. We have Adam Wainwright, Max Scherzer, Garrett Cole, Zach Greinke, Carlos Martinez, and Matt Harvey. And the winner goes to Matt Harvey. Now, technically speaking, that makes no sense because Garrett Cole is doing better, Zach Greinke is doing better. Everyone has a better ERA than Matt Harvey. But the reason why I'm putting Matt Harvey here is because, unlike the rest of the pitchers on this list, he had a lot to prove coming back from Tommy John surgery. And he did more than just come back with a vengeance, striking out guys. A team that people thought was going to get destroyed by the Nationals, he came in there and he was dominating, and that's why I'm putting him on there, because he's a good team leader. He's got the wins, the Ks. The ERA is going to go down. He's adjusting back to the league, but he proved people he's as good as he's ever been. Max Scherzer also had good starts. The problem with Max Scherzer, though, is no one was expecting him to be bad. In fact, if he was like Lester and had bad starts, it'd be more of a, worst pitcher of the month. But I'm not surprised what Max Scherzer's doing. He's a great pitcher. Wainwright, unfortunately, just did not have enough good outings for me to put him as the number one guy. Garrett Cole, I was really debating on putting him on there, but because the Pirates have not been doing as well as the Mets, I'm gonna have to give it to Matt Harvey. But Garrett Cole, though, keep it up, buddy. You were the first round pick in the draft. You're finally playing like it. That's great for the Pirate fans and good for baseball too, because Garrett Cole is a amazing pitcher. I think you saw that one play, which was kind of funny. He threw a ball at Pedro Alvarez and it broke his mitt. And the reason why that happened is because he throws the ball so freaking hard. So very impressive. He's finally pitching to the level he was supposed to be. So it's good to know. Starting pitcher of the month in the American League. The nominees are Dallas Keuchel, Chris Archer, Scott Kazmir, Felix Hernandez. See, I'm putting you on there now. David Price, and Sonny Gray. And the winner is Dallas Keuchel. Was there any doubt? I mean, he has the lowest ERA of those pitchers, more wins. The man pitched 9 innings against the Athletics. He's just a machine out there. And no one expected much of him. I know last year he had like a 2-point-something ERA, but he's been phenomenal. The Astros are dominating out there, and it's because of him and, of course, Colin McHugh. But he has been fantastic for this team. So has David Price. I mean, that first start, he almost threw a shutout. Recently, he threw a complete game. Would have been a shutout. Unfortunately, the other team scored a run off him. But regardless, David Price was having a really good start out there. Kazmir and Gray, I mean, the one thing about the Athletics, they have great pitching, and Kazmir and Gray are equally good. Gray slightly better. He was playing against the Rangers, which is why I kind of lower him down, because the Rangers are having issues, which I will get to later. But you can't ignore regardless how good Gray and Kazmir have been. But your competition kind of is why I weigh them down, because Keuchel, he went against some good teams, and he beat them. And he's definitely the best pitcher of this month. Felix was great too, but I'm giving it to Keuchel. He is the man. The last guy that I put on here, which I forgot to discuss, was Chris Archer. That guy is K'ing people like crazy, but the reason why he is not compared to Keuchel, he's been playing against the Blue Jays, and for some reason, every time the Tampa Bay Rays play against the Blue Jays always lose. It doesn't matter how bad or good the offense is for the Rays, the Blue Jays always lose. And Chris Archer just seems to own that team. And so did David Price, if you remember. So, I don't know what it is. If Chris Archer is pitching against the Blue Jays, expect a lot of Ks. And that's what he's done so far. Which is why he's on here, but why he didn't win the best pitcher of the month. Now to discuss the best closer of the month in the American League. Now, before I was saying reliever, but I'm going to stick with closer because, honestly, if you are the closer of your team, the assumption is, it's not always the case, but the assumption is you're the best reliever on the team. That's why you're the closer. Anyways, the nominees are Andrew Miller, Joaquin Soria, David Robertson, and Glenn Perkins. And I'm giving it to Andrew Miller of the New York Yankees. The main reason why is because I know he's always been a great pitcher, but I think this is the first time he's a legitimate closer. And when Robertson left the Yankees, people thought that Betances was going to become the closer, but Miller stepped up and he is dominating. I mean, people were comparing his stuff to Randy Johnson. That slider is unhittable. He's like a freaking tower, a building, and he's throwing the ball at you. You can't even see it. He's getting the saves for this team. The Yankees have been on fire, by the way, and he's one of the reasons why. When you have him and Betances setting him up, it's a very strong bullpen, and I got to give it to him. I might have considered Robertson, but the problem with the White Sox lately is they're not giving him enough opportunities to come out there and save games. Heck, Glenn Perkins has more saves, and it's the Twins. The Twins! But regardless, Robertson was on there because he had a good... Robertson was on there because he has been very solid for the White Sox, and he's been living up to the money so far. Joaquin Soria is great because he had to replace Joe Nathan, who got hurt, so that's why he's on there. Wade Davis, I forgot to mention, he's been having a good time closing, especially with Greg Holland not being able to do it. So when you can step up for your closer and come in there, that's why he's on there. Alright, let's do the best closer in the National League for the month of April. The nominees are Craig Kimbrell, Jason Grilli, Familia, and Trevor Rosenthal. And I apologize for Familia. I can't really pronounce his name too well. But he gets it. He is the best closer in the month of April in the National League. Why? The Mets won 11 in a row. He has more saves than everybody else. And when your team wins a lot of games, especially in baseball nowadays where the bullpen is what gives you those wins, he has been very good. And one thing to note, he had to take over for Mejia. If you remember him, he's first suspended, but he's also injured too, so it's like a double smack there. But he had to take over for him as the closer, and he's been doing just as well as Mejia would be right now. And that's another reason why I'm putting him on it, because he wasn't the scheduled closer for the year, but he's been taking over, and he did a great job. And one of the reasons why the Mets did as well as they did in this month, so I have to give it to him. He did a great job. Something different I'm doing for this month, I'm going to give out team awards. First off, the Super Sluggers. This goes to the team that has hit the most home runs in the month of April. And you know who that is? The Cincinnati Reds with 31. Technically, if you look at the statistics now, they are no longer the leader in that category, but for this month, they were. And that's very surprising because the Reds are not doing so well. In case you didn't know, it's kind of obvious, but they're not doing so well. And the fact that they are leading in the home run category means that there's other problems with this team, including bullpen and rotation. I'm not going to get into that, but I'm just saying, you look at these statistics and you're like, if he's got so many home runs, why are they not doing so well? Well, there's more aspects of baseball than hitting home runs. I wish the pitching coach, Jeff Pico, would know that. The Gold Gloves, basically the best fielding team in baseball in the month of April, has to go to the Tampa Bay Rays. They have a fielding percentage of .992, which is the best in the league, but the Reds are up there. The Mariners are up there. Cardinals are up there, but they are the best as of right now in this month of April. Pitching aces. This is the team that had the best ERA for the month of April, and the winner is the St. Louis Cardinals with an ERA of 2.43. Very good. The Dodgers have also been great. So have the Yankees, at least in the bullpen perspective. But the Cardinals, starting pitching, relieving, it's been amazing for this team. So, yeah, they get it. Impressive. Team of the month. Now, there's no way to exactly determine who is the best team of the month, but I'm going to give you my reasoning in a moment. First, the nominees are the Kansas City Royals, the New York Mets, Detroit Tigers, the Houston Astros, and the St. Louis Cardinals. And the winner goes to the New York Mets. Next month, I might give it to the Astros, but for this month, it goes to the New York Mets because they had that 11-game winning streak. They don't have Zach Wheeler, Mejia, and even Wright got hurt in the middle of it, and they're still winning games. They are still dominating, and I think Matt Harvey and Familia, those two alone are making this team look great. They're in first place. They're doing much better than the Nationals, which people did not expect to happen, myself included. That's why they're the team of the month, because they dominated. They're doing much better than people suspected, and they're compensating for the loss, I should say, of certain players that unfortunately are not on the team. The Cardinals are doing well too. I wanted to maybe consider them the team of the month, but the Mets are just a little bit better. The Astros have been doing good for the last few weeks, but for the rest of the month, they were all right. I mean, they were winning games, okay? And they've been at first place since day one, basically, of this month. But I'm giving it to the Mets because they got hot when it mattered during the month, and the Astros kind of got hot towards the ending point of the month. So it goes to the Mets. Next month, probably the Astros. But that month just got started, so we'll see if that 9-10 game winning streak ends or continues. Maybe we'll have a 20-game winning streak. Look at that, I just jinxed them. But regardless, hopefully the Astros continue to do well. The Tigers and the Royals both had insane winning streaks to start the season, but both of them cooled down, and the Mets never really did. The Tigers and the Royals cooled down. Plus, the Royals and Tigers were playing against the Twins, the Indians, and the White Sox. And no offense to any of those teams, but they're not playing good baseball right now. They would admit to that, and the teams that play against them, like I said, the Royals and Tigers would as well. Their competition stunk. With the Mets, they had the Nationals, arguably the team to win the World Series, and the Marlins, a team that is suspected to do better. They're not doing better, but they were suspected to do better. And the fact that the Mets are able to beat those teams and move on is very impressive. Same with the Cardinals, but I just got to give it an 11-game winning streak. There you go. Let's move on. Surprise team of the month. You have the Astros and the Braves. I'm going to give it to the Braves. Because the Astros, with the Astros, you at least expected them to do better. They have the young prospects. They got Dallas Keuchel and McHugh, and they also have Evan Gattis, who has been a huge factor for this team. So you expected an upturn. But the Braves, nobody expected them to be good. They lost half their offense. They lost their best parts of their pitching staff, and they're still winning games. Somehow. I mean, Julio Teheran is good, but lately he's been kind of bad. And they even lost, I think, Mike Minor to the DL, but they are still winning games. They're not in first. I'm not going to say they are. But the reason why they're on here is nobody expected them to do what they did, and they've been a fantastic team. I don't know if they can keep playing at this pace, but it's very impressive nonetheless. The next award goes to the team that had the worst start of the month. And there were quite a few teams, but I'm going to go with the worst of the worst. The nominees are the Milwaukee Brewers, Chicago White Sox, Texas Rangers, and the Philadelphia Phillies. And you know who's getting it? The Milwaukee Brewers. Why are the Milwaukee Brewers getting it? Because the Brewers actually looked like a team that was going to be competitive, and for some reason they've fallen apart. Now, it's not a surprise to me that they're doing bad, because I figure with the Cubs improving, the Pirates, an already playoff contention team, every year, and the Reds getting their players back, and the Cardinals are the Cardinals, so I figured they were going to lose. But that badly, very surprising. They take a lot of injuries. It's been a very painful month for the Brewers. In fact, this is not related to this month, but I'm going to say anyways, they just fired their manager, Ron Renneke, and they just hired Craig Counsell. You know, the guy with the crazy batting stance was like raised it right above his head. But they hired him, and Ron Renneke is gone. That's how bad you know it is for the Brewers. The White Sox also, they can do so much better. I don't know what's with that team, but they can do better, but they were having a bad start. The Rangers, I thought with the bounce back for the healthy players, they'd be better. But they already lost Holland, they lost Darvish, and Harrison's not there, so it's not that great, unfortunately, for them. And the Phillies, no one expected them to be good anyway, so they're a piss-off team. Everyone's beating them anyway, so I'm putting them there because technically they had a bad start, but in actuality, no one's surprised. I don't think you are. I'm not surprised either. With the empty stadium and the snow, the good pitching, the good defense, the bad pitching, the bad defense, all the fighting, more empty stadiums. This was a fantastic month. I hope for the sake of my teams and maybe yours, they do better for the next month. But overall, very solid month. If you have a thought about the month as well, leave a comment section below. If you liked the video, please throw some heat at the like button. Thanks for watching and have a great day.